Welcome, beautiful friends and Team Spirit. A good morning, a good afternoon, and a good evening to you all, depending on where on planet Earth you may be residing. I am so happy to be here with you today. As always, I am so grateful to be here with you too as well today. And I have so much to cover for you today that I could literally do 2 shows. So let us not waste any more time, because Spirit warned that we were going to head into this accident-prone energy. Whether you're aware of it or not, emergency rooms are now filling up with lots of accidental injuries, more than usual, and more secret train derailments. Secret because they don't want us to know about them now because people are catching on. A massive fire at Disney's FANTASMIC Dragon, Disneyland. What else could we expect in the way of accident-prone energy over the next few weeks? Several months back, I saw a small dip in the prices of silver and gold before a significant rise would occur. Well, this dip did occur on March 8th, and prices have continued to rise as gold is rising as well. Will there be another dip in precious metals and in Bitcoin? We're going to talk about that today. Is there an artificial intelligence takeover coming in the near future? Sure looks that way, don't it, friends? Will movies like RoboCop soon become an actual reality? And if so, when? I asked the AI if it posed a threat to humanity, and you all are going to be absolutely shocked at the answers that I received. I will also provide some predictions revolved around the future of artificial intelligence. Good stuff. Spirit warned not that long ago that 2 new civil wars were going to break out, likely during this energy cycle that we are in now, right after the solstice, or right after the eclipse. And we see this exactly happening in Sudan right now. And Spirit did tell us Africa. That was the thing that came to my mind when I told you that I saw 2 civil wars breaking out. So where could the second civil war break out? And will there be other wars that people need to worry about? I tell you, try not to worry about anything and just celebrate life every day. Tensions are growing globally as we step onto the edge of new wars, and tensions rising in the Middle East, in Africa, Taiwan versus China, North Korea and the Korean Peninsula. How close are we to a world war? In the past, I had visions of future tragedies that would hit places like concerts and music festivals. In Thailand, a sudden storm brought havoc to a Thailand music festival that sent people running for shelter as a stage collapsed. A warning today from Spirit on potential future incidents around festivals, concerts, and sporting events. Something you're going to need to hear. The king is about to be crowned. King Charles, that is. Will it actually happen? Will it last? How long will it last? We're going to cover that. And Spirit warned us of an uptick in suicides and deaths when it comes to celebrities, especially. A K-pop star from Korea, South Korea, I believe, took their own life, and Spirit shows me several others coming in the near future. Who could they be? We talked a lot about celebrities over the past couple months. Over the past few weeks, we warned the people of Indonesia of an incoming earthquake and a potential tsunami or tsunami warning. And just yesterday, Monday, the tsunami warnings rung out as a 7.1 earthquake hit one of the islands of Indonesia. And Spirit says there's more to come, of course, in the way of quakes, including in the United States as well. Australia and Japan, excuse me. So hold on tight, friends. I actually have, again, an action-packed episode for you today. I welcome you to my channel, back to my channel. If you're part of Team Spirit, glad to have you. If you are not and you want accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth, and good information and content, then you found the tribe that you want to hit that subscribe. I thank you all for the love and support that you bring to me. This would not be possible to provide this free content to you if it weren't for my supporters and a combination of those on my Subscribe Star Awaken Your Spirit community. The links are down below. And all those who send support through PayPal and through here in the live chats and so forth. Again, I couldn't spend the amount of time doing this that I do if it weren't for each and every one of you, and I love doing it, and it just makes my life more joyful and more to celebrate, and I thank you all for that. Down below, you'll find all the links to my social media, including my newsletter. And the most recent newsletter that was just put out yesterday with very special offers on private sessions and upcoming classes. You know, there's many things that block us from opening up to abundance, joy, and happiness. And a lot of this is energetic and emotionally connected. That's why I launched Transform into Abundance workshop program. This is working with the law of attraction along with very powerful healing and guided meditations that assist you in clearing things that need to be cleared in order to help you achieve your goals and your dreams. People have great success with that class, and I'm offering more than 50% off on early bird registration. Check that out below. Lastly, before I move on, I also want to tell you that I just totally had a brain freeze. I totally forget what I was just going to tell you all. Guess it wasn't important. But this is episode number 63 of Tuesday's Tittel Tea Time. I'm Tittel. This is tea. Good tea. Positive energy yogi tea. My favorite. And some jasmine green tea mixed in with that. Episode number 63, friends. And if you're new here, we do this each and every Tuesday. I usually like to do live, but with complications, until we get those worked out, I upload it. And it is right now 11:51 a.m. here in beautiful, amazing Sedona, Arizona. And again, I am Joseph Tittel coming at you live from Sedona. So moving right along, the Mercury Retrograde came rolling in like a tsunami wave, as it always does, on April 21st, followed by that eclipse and new moon and all the energies we had going on, and it's going to be hanging around until mid-May. Already we have witnessed an uptick in craziness upon our planet, with the civil war that's breaking out in Sudan, the massive quake in Indonesia, and more on the way, according to Spirit. And of course, another attack on our food and our railway systems. What's up with that? At the same time, we're beginning to witness exactly what Spirit forewarned us that was going to occur. First, with the drops of truth from whistleblowers, along with people resigning and dropping out of powerful positions, as we see the fake and bake news networks dropping folks like Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon. That's a sour note right there. So being the retrograde, the Mercury retrograde rules over communications and brings about miscommunications. We can only pray and hold in the light together that our world leaders do not jump the gun and bring about more wars and more people fleeing their homes as refugees. Especially the leaders of both China and North Korea, when it comes to them being the ones that love to poke their neighbors with attempts to bring about global fear. If you are about to travel or planning any travel over the next few weeks, you should expect there to be delays, and be sure to double and triple check things before rushing into things, or rushing into anything, really. This includes rushing into conversations with people or rushing to reply to somebody's text message, and then they totally misinterpret it, and then you got tension, negative energy forming between you and that person. So you got to be really aware of what you're putting out there. And Spirit says that there's so much more to come, and this with this retrograde, and this retrograde is just a warm-up in comparison to the next two retrogrades that are going to occur in September and in December before the year goes out with a bang, and it sure will go out with a bang. Despite the challenges that may come with this Mercury retrograde or any Mercury retrograde, it is important for all of us to remember that we are very capable of overcoming those obstacles and challenges that Mercury sets out, or life sets out in front of us. This is a time for us to really slow down, reflect, and reassess your goals and your priorities and your financial situation. Remember that setbacks and obstacles are not failures, but they are opportunities for growth, for learning, and use this time, this retrograde in the next few weeks, as a time to reevaluate your plans, your goals, and make adjustments wherever it may be necessary, because you'll be glad that you did. Trust in your ability to navigate through any challenge that may arise during this time, whether it be during retrograde or outside of retrograde. Remember that you have the power to create the life that you want, even in the face of adversity. Stay positive, stay focused, stay true to yourself. With patience and determination, you can achieve absolutely everything and anything you set your mind to, even during a Mercury retrograde cycle. So, a little humor before we move on, being that we're going to be discussing AI at some point in today's episode, and it's one of our topics. I'm going to ask you all, why did the AI robot have to go on a diet? Why did the AI robot have to go on a diet? Because it ate too many megabytes. Moving right along, little T first. Again, I hope you're all having a great day so far, or evening, or wherever you are in the world. Tensions are growing globally as we step onto the edge of new wars. Really on the edge of new wars, again, including in places like the Middle East, Africa, Taiwan versus China, North Korea, and the Korean Peninsula, and the war that's already currently going on in Europe. Spirit forewarned just last month that 2 new civil wars would break out, and that we would see this, and we do see this happening now in Sudan, where Americans are told to get out. Africa was one of the potential continents where these civil wars would occur in my past predictions. Probably both of them, to be honest with you. I feel like the Sudan crisis is actually going to somehow spread to nearby areas or nearby countries. And this will also bring about another flow, sadly, of refugee migrants. And sadly, we're going to see more and more people fleeing countries over the next few years due to many different circumstances, not just war, but because of shifts in climate or weather disaster events. That's why it's really always good to be prepared. Fix yourself a little go bag or whatever you need. Make sure you got supplies. It's always, as they say, be safe, don't be sorry. So sadly, we're going to see that happen. But when I did some map scrying today, Spirit pulled me to South Sudan and all the way down to Uganda. So that whole area from Sudan all the way down through South Sudan into the Uganda, that whole area, just Spirit pulled me there so strong today. Also, another one that jumped out at me was Madagascar. Madagascar jumped off the map at me today, and I believe that this is actually more related to a weather event and not necessarily war or civil war. I mean, it's possible and potential, but at the same time, I feel like weather is coming. A big storm's coming to the coast of Madagascar and Durban, Africa. Both those places. It could even be like a tsunami event if it's going and hitting in between, or some type of big storm that goes right in between Durban, Africa, and Madagascar. Spirit also showed me, and I thought this was really interesting today, a very dark cloud of energy coming across the Atlantic and hovering right over top of Africa. And that wasn't, at first I had to check in with that vision. Is this a storm you're showing me? Spirit's like, oh, it's a storm, all right, but not the one that comes from the weather. So you can take that one the way, any way you want, but it's pretty obvious. So Spirit showed me this dark cloud of energy coming across the Atlantic, hovering over Africa. And this energy to me actually felt like it was satanic. And I have no doubt that this is likely another cursed energy, because this is what these evildoers do, a cursed energy that's being sent from the elite psychopaths who are the devil's advocates and leading slaves of the dark army, because really they're just slaves of Lucifer, the darkness. So, they think they're doing good and saving the world in their sick minds, but they're just a part. Darkness will take them out too eventually. The cartel is now earning upwards of $30,000 for each Chinese citizen that they are helping to flee across borders. Most of these Chinese citizens are fleeing, of course, to the United States. And the United States is totally being taken over by migrants illegally entering the country thanks to the help of the Mexican cartel and what I call the JB cartel. Spirit reminds me of my past prediction that you all remember if you've been hanging out with me long enough. That Spirit showed us visions in the past revolved around Texas and a war of sorts, not necessarily like a war, but a war of sorts breaking out between people in Texas citizens, and the cartel. Also, Arizona may become a part of this fight. So something's going to trigger over there on the borders, especially down by Texas, between Texas and Arizona. Something is going to cause people to get completely fed up. They probably already are, and we're not seeing this in any of the media because they don't want you to know. But if anybody down there in Texas knows anything about this, down near the borders or even in Arizona, please do leave a comment down below. We all love to read the comments. It's important that we share and be kind because otherwise you'll just get blocked. People leave some of the things that people leave in comments. It's just I should do a video sometime showing you some of these people's comments, that the ones that don't get put up. But anyway, yeah, so this war with the cartel, and I believe this may be approaching. Again, as you know, sometimes predictions take 2, sometimes 3 years to come into fruition. Usually now, and it depends. Some predictions here on Tuesdays come true quick, sometimes within a couple of weeks. But some of the bigger predictions don't come true for 2 to 3 years. And we saw that happen like with 2020. Everything I said in 2017 came true in 2020. Crazy stuff. Because it was a crazy year, of course. But it did open up our eyes and gave us all much more vision. So I believe, being that Spirit reminded me about this war sort of thing between Texas and the cartel coming, and a reminder of something I said probably at least a year ago. I believe that we are approaching this due to many factors, including that there's currently a herd of over 3,000 immigrants rushing through Mexico and towards the borders of the United States. My light goes out. Why does that light just magically go out? It's so bizarre. Anyway, you can still see me, I'm sure. So that's what we got going on down there at the borders, people rushing over. Remember, I kept getting in the past Alaska, and I also had that really weird vision of a star falling off a flag. It was like, a shooting star off the flag of the United States of America, maybe connected perhaps to Alaska, or is one of the states in the United States going to opt out of being a part of the states? Are they going to remove a star, or is something else going to happen? Is California going to go into the water, or is Texas going to be invaded by China? There's all kinds of potentials that could literally happen. But in the past, this falling star, but also I saw, and talked about Alaska being in both Russia and China's scope, and that they are really watching for some reason and want parts of Alaska. And this kind of confirms it right here with this article. U.S. jets intercept Russian Tu-95 bombers near Alaska. The first encounter since the U.S. drone taken down. This article was from April 19th. Intercept near Alaska is first. Why do they do this with their damn commercials on here? That drives me crazy. U.S. fighter jets intercepted Russian bomber aircraft near Alaska Monday, according to Alaskan Region of North American Aerospace Defense Command. NORAD made the announcement Wednesday in an official statement. The Alaskan Region of North America Aerospace Defense Command detected, tracked, and positively identified and intercepted 2 Russian aircraft entering and operating within Alaska Air Defense Identification Zone on April 17th, 2023. This just confirms what I said in my past predictions about they have their scope on Alaska. And hopefully that's not the star falling off there. I have friends in Alaska, but Alaska just continues to jump out at me for multiple reasons, and I feel strongly that, man, that trash truck's loud. I feel strongly that some type of fight is coming. Now, this, however, could be a fight against the climate and a huge volcanic activity and earthquakes, and not necessarily a fight like war or military, exchange of any sort. So this could more likely be related and connected, of course, to the climate and to weather events, is which I believe it is. But Alaska jumped out at me at the map so strongly, and eventually, I I feel like that state's going to get hit really hard. I'll wait until this truck goes by. Jeez, I left my door open. Totally left my door open and forgot. There we go. So yeah, so Alaska being hit really hard in different aspects, and I also feel whatever hits coming is going to affect the state of Washington as well. So that would make me think more likely weather related, maybe connected to a combination of an earthquake or tsunami. I'm sure because Alaska's been jumping out at me for a month or so now, so I'm sure more clarity will come through with this in the future. This is every Tuesday. Sometimes, things come up so that we can bring more clarity to them, so I can bring more clarity to them, or when we're approaching things that I said in the past coming true, it'll come up again. All the more reason to subscribe and make sure you're here every Tuesday. Wednesday on the other side of the planet, but Tuesday here on this side of the planet. So I do believe that they're going to have huge volcanic activity and such. Spirit continues to warn all of us about the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, whose Spirit claims all of a sudden Kim Jong-un wants a part of South Korea. Kind of like Putin all of a sudden wanted part of Ukraine and couldn't work out a thing. So now all of a sudden Kim Jong-un has his eyes on part of South Korea. I don't know which part. I don't know why, but this, according to Spirit, was sudden. And that has to do with probably the energies and the eclipse and everything else that's going on in the world energetically and astrologically can really flick switches in psychopathic minds. Everybody's mind, but especially psychopathic minds. So I'm not sure, not clear on what part or why, again, that this seems so random and so sudden, which could also be even more dangerous when it comes to a psychopath. So we'll have to see where that plays out. That's all I really got on that, other than past predictions revolved around North Korea. And Egypt, as you know, what according to the leaked documents, was supplying Russia with 40,000 rockets. Yes, and Spirit told me that those document leaks, Spirit says those document leaks are 100% legit, and they are still panicking to do what they can to try to cover them up or deny them, as they do in this country. Deny. That's actually any country with politicians and leaders. So I want to warn today the people of Egypt that the evildoers are sending dark entities your way to the Egyptian people. And I warn you, in Egypt, do not feed into these dark energies, or you're going to join countries like Sudan in launching your own civil war in Egypt. An uprising of the Egyptian people is coming soon, according to Spirit. But, that's what Spirit said to me today, that the evildoers are going to send dark entities that way, which reminds me of the vision I had of the dark cloud over part of Africa, the lower part of Africa, because I know people are going to comment, what part of Africa? The lower part. It was almost the whole continent, but if I were part of it, edges of it were not covered by this dark energy. So it's the first time I saw anything like that, too. It was kind of interesting in these visions. Speaking of visions, remember my visions in the past of the oil fields being burned up? Reflections of Desert Storm, and the war against Saddam Hussein and everything that happened with him igniting the fields. Well, Spirit shows me that Iran is going to rebuke against Saudi Arabia. Remember, I talked about Saudi Arabia many times, which I'm beginning to believe that Saudi Arabia is actually the Whore of Babylon in the Bible. Because if you look at the prophecies in the Bible, it says that all the nations drunk the wine of fortification. What is the wine in the Bible? Think about that, because it's not literally wine. Prophecies need to be interpreted. What is the wine? So if we focused on a place like Saudi Arabia, the wine of fortification that gets the nations drunk, which is basically dependent on it. When you're drunk, you want to keep drinking, right? You want more and more and more. That's oil, folks, 100%. And when I thought about that and got that information, I was like, that makes sense, especially with Iran rebuking against Saudi Arabia for whatever reason. So I would say that Saudi Arabia may endure an attack of sorts coming from Iran, within Iran. Not that it's Iran directly, but, vigilantes that are in there, or whatever you want to call them. So tensions in the Middle East are going to get triggered by the end of this year, according to Spirit. It's already tense in the Middle East, but it's going to be triggered even more by the end of the year. And I'm going to say now, thinking about this, the end of the year, December, we're in that last energy shift in retrograde of the year. We get 4 of them this year. Aren't we lucky? So tensions are going to rise up, especially against Saudi Arabia, which has become a huge issue for the world, even though the world's not seeing it because they're drunk on her fortification wine and fortification. They're drunk on the oil, folks. I mean, we see it. It's obvious. It makes total sense that that's what the Holy Bible is talking about. So a huge problem for the world, Spirit said, and this is going to add to the tensions. So we are going to begin to see Turkey begin to rise up in the Middle East, and Spirit calls Turkey the false peacekeepers. The false peacekeepers, which probably also aligns with the Bible and, say, the 7-year treaty that was peace treaty that's supposed to be signed, which is going to be signed directly with the Antichrist. I feel like that's all coming really soon. So therefore, that tension in the Middle East has to flare up big time for this peacekeeper to come in. And I believe that peacekeeper, that Antichrist, is there already waiting, traveling around the Middle East right now. Soon we're going to start to see, according to Spirit right now, soon we are going to see the Antichrist pose as the false prophet by making magical things appear in the skies. So that'll be interesting. He's going to make magical things appear in the skies. It sounds like an alien to me. Probably is. Antichrist probably is an alien. But anyway, I spoke about the Antichrist and that he would reside in Turkey at one point in past predictions, going back a long time ago. People say that, again, I've covered the Antichrist many times, and people say, oh, it was Obama or it was Bush. Every time there's a leader in the United States, he's called the Antichrist. Trump, people truly believe that Trump is, but it's not, folks. It's not. If you read the Bible and you read where he comes from, first of all, the United States didn't exist. The person comes from the Middle East. The whole story of the prophecies of the Bible are based in the Middle East and also in Rome. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But Spirit told me that there will be more chaos at borders. I wasn't told what borders or where the borders, besides the borders in the United States we just talked about a few minutes ago. All I got was a simple message from Spirit: more chaos at borders is coming. So I'm going to say borders everywhere, especially borders. Turkey just popped in my head again. Borders around Turkey. And borders that have to do with the current fight in Ukraine and Russia. And speaking of Russia, another message from Spirit was Russia's going to strike back. Actually, in my notes, it's Russia strikes back, a blow to the United States. So I don't know what this is specifically, but Russia strikes back, a big blow to the United States. So I don't feel like necessarily this has to be something military related. And of course, we're never going to know because they blame Russia for everything. Just like they blame past administrations here for everything in the United States. It's just amazing to me. It's an amazing time to look, and it's actually quite entertaining, I must say. And it is all entertainment for us. It's all entertainment to basically get humans to submit to their evil doings. Speaking of evil doings, Prince Charles is soon to be crowned. Will this actually happen? But he's actually going to make a very bad decision of being crowned the new king on May 6th, directly after a full moon, during a Mercury retrograde, and following 2 major eclipses. Folks, like, we know that the elite, especially the palace, have their own and utilize their own astrologers, probably numerologists, and of course psychics as well. So what is going on there? Did the elite, are they trying to trick Charles into doing something that he shouldn't be doing just to ensure his failure? Because we know that they do, again, utilize all these. So why would they pick such a horrible date for Charles to be kinged in the coronation. Perhaps because this is already being rigged to fail. Maybe that's why they picked this date, because it's purposely being rigged to fail. And with those dates and picking those times and all, they're definitely rigging it to fail without a doubt. Why would they want Charles to fail as king when he's actually a huge advocate for the World Economic Forum? And just, it seems to me that Klaus Schwab wants young leaders. He wants young leaders like his star athlete puppet, Justin Trudeau. So Charles is in his 5 personal year right now in numerology, which also really does not help him to ensure and secure his success. So it is as if he's actually being set up to fail. I do believe he will manage to get through a few years before he is somehow forced to hand the throne over to William, who is actually, according to Spirit, William is super focused on stealing that throne from his own father. Has to do with some past life stuff too. Probably killed each other in a past life over that damn throne. But Spirit just said that it has to do with a past life thing. And William desperately wants to take his father out of that position, more than most people, according to Spirit, would actually believe. But it's true. I would expect something significant to take a wrong turn during this event coming up on May 6th, including technical issues because of the retrograde with the live broadcasts. Maybe even live broadcasts being blacked out or going out completely. But soon as Charles takes the seat, Spirit says we all will immediately see his push towards evil agendas. For example, he's going to push for the social credit score system and limiting travel to people. I don't know exactly what that means, but we know they're doing that globally with their 15-minute city plan and everything to limit you from traveling. Only the elite get to travel. You get to do nothing. You are just a slave to them. You do nothing. They don't even want you on this planet. They want 90% of us gone. It's all a fact, actually, by the way, folks. Do your research. I've talked about it many, many, many times. But going back to King Charles, he's quickly going to fall into deep, muddy waters, according to Spirit. And when he does, I would not be surprised at all to see Charles actually last as long as he actually does last. But his reign will end in or before 2027. So that's a short period of time. 2027 would also be his 9-year. And it would also be an 11 altogether, a 2-year here on the planet Earth. But it's 11. So there's 2 powerful numbers that the 11-year, which is really a 2-year, but it's still we always take notice to the 11s and the 22s, and a 9-year for Charles in 2027, which is endings, death of cycles. Sometime in the future, the king is going to attempt to bring people into some type of war. A war that the people of England are going to be very resistant to being involved in, even slightly. So I would imagine that this could be connected to the current war in Europe, of course, that's going to escalate greatly in the near future and by the year end. But perhaps this may not be the case, don't know. But also, do not all be surprised to see some type of crazy outburst that occurs on May 6th from a citizen or even a group of protesters at his coronation. Spirit shows me visions of King Charles, Prince Charles still now, being rushed out of a space by security. Remind me of a vision I had of Trump, and this happening to Trump when he was president. And that happened like a month after I said it, Trump being rushed out, if you recall. I forget what that whole thing was, but it reminded me of that, the vision that I had of Charles being rushed out of a space by security. Not that this is going to be at the coronation. It may be, but I don't necessarily believe it has to be. But something coming up, a threat to his safety where they're rushing him out of a room. Speaking of threats, our infrastructure and power grids are at a great threat. And I talked about power grids and power outages for a long time here with y'all. And so Spirit has been warning us for a long time, for a while, to prepare for power outages and attacks on our power grids. Attacks that did come into fruition after I made predictions that was going to happen, and then it started happening. It's become a thing now, right? They're attacking our power grids. So now would be a really good time. I'm considering and saving and looking into electric generators, preferably a solar one. Because gas, what good is a gas one if you ain't able to get gas? If they take out a power grid, you're not going to be able to get gasoline. So, I live in Arizona, and I think it's a perfect place to have a solar generator. But they are quite pricey, and I can't, I like to get one that would at least run my refrigerator. I actually like to have two. A small one that would run my modem and like a lamp or something, so that I can still be active online, and one that would run my refrigerator to keep my food good. That's it. That's what I'd like to have. But I would advise you all to consider doing the same thing. Not only outages due to hack attacks that are coming and hacking into our systems, but physical attacks that are going to happen on our power grids, especially from weather-related events. This summer, we're going to see one of the largest rolling power outages due to several heat waves globally. This will, of course, include California, Nevada, New York, and parts of the United Kingdom, and throughout the Middle East. Parts of Australia will also lose power due to storms, some outages lasting days after they are hit by a hurricane type of storm on both coasts, mainly the West Coast. So if I had to pick a coast, I'd say the West. But I felt like they were both getting hit differently by different systems. A warning goes out to our friends in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico! Our friends in Puerto Rico, whose infrastructure is already so fragile, and they already were hit hard a few years back. And other parts of the Caribbean, or the Caribbean, depending on where you come from. Caribbean. But I've said things about the Caribbean, and Spirit told us. I'm not remembering what I said in the past about that, but it came up again today. A warning, and this has to do with weather, without a doubt. I will be working over the next week on my weather predictions for the season coming up, including predictions on all the hurricanes like I do every year, looking at the names of the hurricanes and telling you which ones to look out for, which so far has been pretty darn good accurate. So we look at the numbers and all that and the names and see how that all comes into play. So again, all the more reason to subscribe. Going back to big power outages in the Caribbean and in Puerto Rico, including also Cuba. Cuba seems like an attack on the Cuban infrastructure that they're going to blame on their weak infrastructure, but really it's an attack. That's what Spirit just said to me. I like when Spirit says things to me in the process. So it is certainly going to be a very stormy summer and fall season. So again, make sure you keep an eye out for my weather predictions. But Chicago also came to my mind, along with Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia, PA. And that felt more to me like a physical attack on power stations and a potential hack on one of them too, a computer hack on one of them. Most people don't realize that most power stations cannot be hacked. But some can, but most cannot, because they're not even on a system like that, because they're so old and outdated, actually. But anyway, the biggest hacks that we're going to see on power grids are going to occur, of course, in Europe, starting with parts of Russia going in the dark. Both Bulgaria and Germany came to my mind really strongly today when I was tapping into future issues with power grids and outages. So I also see large issue occurring in both Japan and also in China with infrastructure and power grids. So a warning comes to the people of California, especially Los Angeles and Hollywood. Remember my visions in the past of the Hollywood sign falling down? Remember that? That just popped in my brain again. So a warning comes to the people of California, again, especially California's Los Angeles and Hollywood areas. Some type of karmic attack, according to Spirit, is coming and will be launched, of course, by the evildoers. Even though it's karmic. It's kind of interesting how these evildoers launch things that actually end up giving them their own damn karma back. Kind of funny, right? Everything's karmic. It's kind of interesting. So we're going to have to see what this is. Perhaps it could actually be an earthquake that's actually meant to take out a power grid or take out an infrastructure. Because I thought that more than anything, the warning for California would be more related to, again, the infrastructure and power grids. And we know California is on the edge of receiving that huge quake, which is coming, I believe, between now and 2025 at the latest. So from power grids to power drops. I spoke about this cycle that we're in now and throughout 2023, that we would begin to see people dropping from powerful positions, such as CEOs. We would see many resignations and even deaths of celebrities and elite. This is something Spirit warned, and soon after we began to witness. And that cycle of power drops has arrived again, once again. Biden domestic policy advisor Susan Rice is stepping down. Or is she actually getting the boot? She was also connected to the Obama administration. Perfect timing when it comes to cutting ties, because that's what retrograde's all about, getting rid of. She's stepping down as Biden's domestic policy advisor. Susan Rice is stepping down as President Biden's domestic policy advisor, the White House announced on Monday. I surprised a lot of people when I named Ambassador Susan Rice as my domestic policy advisor, Biden said in a statement announcing her departure. Susan was synonymous with foreign policy, having previously served as national security advisor and UN ambassador. So what is that all about? That feels very shady, and there's something more to that. Not sure what it is, but Spirit says we will be sure over the next few months. We have not really heard the last, according to Spirit, of Susan Rice. We're going to hear a lot more about her over the next few months. And I would tell you to expect her to come out with a book in the near future, maybe a book that reveals some truths. More endings are coming her way over the next year, according to Spirit. So I would tell you, Susan Rice, big endings. You think this is an ending? This is just the start of your endings. Speaking of endings, the bacon fake media is in a panic, folks. The bacon fake media. Big panic. You know, the witches down there at the View, take away that W and put the letter B, at the View are like buzzards pecking away at roadkill on the side of the road. You know, the View in itself will be heading for its own challenges. That show needs to go. Like, that show's just ridiculous. I used to be a fan way back in the day. I actually met Whoopi Goldberg, and I was a big fan of hers until I met her. And I became the opposite of a big fan of hers after meeting her. If that doesn't tell you a lot in itself, that's all I'll say with that one. But they're pecking away. And it's time for Goldberg's, Whoopi's karma train to come, according to Spirit. She's got a karma train heading her way, which means she's going to get hit with a karma train. I don't know what that means exactly, but I would expect that maybe her time there is limited. Probably very limited. I think the whole show is very limited and needs to go. And I didn't even want to talk about it today, but Spirit brought it up, not me. A massive voice with a massive audience who brought truth about the whole Capitol event that occurred. Everything that happened on that day, that 6th day of the first month of, what year was that? 2021 or whatever it was. You know what I'm talking about. This person brought all that truth to the surface. Got to give them credit for that. But that's probably why Tucker Carlson is now being booted out of Fox Network, which is actually going to be the best thing to happen to him. Even though I'll tell you more about him, but Carlson leaves Fox effective immediately. He didn't even get to say goodbye to anybody. So you know there was a fallout. It's Mercury Retrograde. Hello, miscommunications, arguments, tensions, things like that. Makes total sense. There was a big fallout. And Rupert Murdoch, that man is just evil in himself. Talk about working for Satan, right hand. But Fox on April 24th, which was yesterday, confirmed that it parted ways with popular primetime host Tucker Carlson, offering no explanation why. I think he told him to go scratch, quite honestly. But, you know, he has a contract, so how'd that work out? They had to pay to get rid of him. They had to have paid to get rid of him. But here's it gets really interesting. Like a majority of the fake and bake media, Fox and the controlling news network, CNN, are both trickling downwards, folks. They are trickling downwards. People aren't following it. They're getting caught lying, all of them. And then the ones that bring out the truth, look, they get fired. So it doesn't matter. But soon we're going to see a merging occur of media companies like Fox merging with CNN, for example. Not saying that's the case, but we're going to see a merging of media companies, and likely we will see the Fox News Network go up for sale in the near future. You're going to be dumping that off because this is going to hurt them big time. Why would you get rid of your top rated show on your network? Because the elite made you, the evildoers made you for whatever reasons that we won't find out about. But here's the thing, Tucker already had a plan. So this was already planned, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. But going back to the Fox network, maybe Elon Musk will buy it. No, wait a second. He's too smart. He knows better not. That would be a dumb move. He wouldn't make a dumb move like that. But Tucker already had a plan in store, folks. And this is what I will tell you. So do not feel sorry for the guy, because he actually comes from a lot of money. He's already from a wealthy family. Now, on top of that, he went and made millions of dollars to add to the piles of cash that he already had handed down to him. Something that many people don't know is that he just recently purchased a new home right next door to his current home. So why would you buy the house next door to your current home? I believe, whether this is the home or not, but without a doubt, he's already began building his own studio. So this was already in his plans. Building his own studio, and he's going to launch a combination of his own podcast and his own YouTube channel of some sort. But it may not be on YouTube. Here's the thing. More likely, he's going to do this on a private platform, kind of sort of like Joe Rogan, because I feel like that's what he's inspiring to follow behind for whatever reason. You'd have to ask Tucker that question. But a private platform in which you're going to need to not just subscribe to it, but you're going to have to pay a fee. And I think that's where he's shooting towards. Seeing his future content being protected, of course, behind the wall of money. You can't get to it unless you pay. Which, here it's all free content, thanks to all the supporters of this channel that I couldn't do it. And my clients and my students, because signing up for a private session or taking one of my classes actually supports the work in the channel as well. Besides, sometimes you need some guidance in your life, folks, and I'm really good at providing that. Anyway, moving on, because speaking of people dropping out of power, CNN got tired of biting on sour lemons. So Don Lemon is out on the same exact day as Tucker. Tell me that wasn't an astrological retrograde influence right there. Is Hannity next? I think Hannity might be next out the door. That name popped in my brain. I don't know any of these people. I mean, I know that I know them, but I don't watch these shows. I've watched some of their pieces. Don Lemon, I can't it's again, biting on a lemon. I can't watch it. Can't watch that guy. But he's going to be attempting, Don Lemon, to file a lawsuit for breach of contract. But he's going to fail at that. So not only did they get rid of him, they're screwing him out of a whole lot of money. Millions. Whereas Tucker is getting a paycheck before he leaves. There's a difference there. It's kind of interesting, right? I think, doesn't Rupert Murdoch own both networks? I'm pretty sure he does. So we've seen a whole line of celebrity deaths happen, and Spirit said this would be a huge year for the loss of legends and celebrities. Not that this person's a legend or celebrity here in the United States or in your country, but he sure in the heck is in the Korean peninsula. And that was this young man by the name of Moonbin. And fans anguish over this K-pop star's death in a suspected suicide. Spirit just told me that wasn't suicide. It wasn't suicide. So we can only imagine if it wasn't suicide, it had to be something else, right? I won't even say it. You can guess it out. Red Rum. Spell that backwards. Red Rum! The movie The Shining, one of my favorites. Jack Nicholson kind of dropped out of the picture, right? He just popped in my mind. So something's going to come up with Jack Nicholson in the near future with his health and such. Hospitalization, and Jack might not be hanging around too much. Is Jack hitting the bottle too much? Is he a drinker? Because I think Spirit keeps showing me alcohol around him. alcoholism. But going back to this, Astro Boy band member was found unresponsive by his manager at his Seoul apartment on Wednesday night. His death renews concerns over the immense stress K-pop stars face and brings to mind other high-profile music deaths in the recent years. Police said it appeared that he had taken his own life, but the autopsy would determine the exact cause of death. Expectantly left our world and became a star in the sky. Interesting, right? Very interesting. Poor young man. Could you imagine what they put them through? I mean, they put all the stars through that. Just ask Justin Bieber. And celebrity deaths, there's been so many already this month. I just talked about celebrity deaths and mentioned several people. I don't remember who, and it might have been in my April predictions. If not, it was in one of the Tuesday shows, so go back and check them out. Also, going back to the retrograde, the do's and don'ts of Mercury retrograde. I did a video yesterday, a short video that you if you don't know all about retrograde thoroughly, watch yesterday's video. Very important. But Len Goldman, the head judge of the popular UK show Strictly Come Dancing, passed away on April 22nd. Len's manager Jackie Gill confirmed the 70-year-old died of bone cancer. Barry Humphries, an Australian comedian best known for playing Dame Edna, passed away on April 22nd as well. Maxine Kibalidis, I probably butchered that name, but she's also a Australian mate. I want to go down there under. Actress, again, Maxine, young too, 58 years old. Max Sheehan, who died on April 14th due to illness. Mark Sheehan. He was the co-founder and guitarist of the popular band The Script. He was 46. Dame Mary Quant passed away peacefully on April 13th, acclaimed fashion designer. Lassie Wallander, the guitarist from the iconic band ABBA. Oh, I didn't know that. I like ABBA. Passed away on April 7th. His ABBA bandmates paid a touching tribute to Lassie? I don't know how his name said. John Olsen, the acclaimed Australian artist, died surrounding his friends. He was old, though, 95. It's like, yeah, time to go, buddy. You're old. Joe Olsen, the acclaimed Australian... Oh, wait. It shows a younger picture of him. Paul Cattermole, member of the group the S Club 7. Never heard of him. Doug Mulray, who was the Australian... A lot of Australian people. Another one, Peter Hardy, another Australian actor. Bobby Caldwell, he was 71. Jeff Watson, Richard Belzar, Raquel Welch. Talk about some money right there. Bert Bachart, I don't know that person's name. Annie Wersching. Lots of people. Some of them, these people I never heard of before, but they are a list of celebrities that passed, mostly in the month of April. And going back to celebrity deaths, let's go back to actually forget about celebrity deaths because you can go back to my past predictions for that. But Joe Biden announced today his run. I'm sorry, I can't help myself. Like, come on. I'm just going to read this here. Announced his run for 2024 in a pre-recorded audio that they played while Joe Biden was still in bed sleeping this morning. And in the audio, JB claims that he has to finish the job. Finish the job, friends? Finish the job? What job? Finish bringing our country into a depression? Finish destroying the dollar completely? Finish igniting World War III? Yeah, finish the job. That's exactly what he wants to do. And I don't know how people don't see this, how people that actually believe that he's doing a good job. Like I say, put your crack pipe down, wake up to reality. And just move on. Just politics get on my nerves because I think they're all corrupt. I tell you that all the time. It's all right and it's all a show. Accident Prone Energy, speaking of shows and concert tragedies, a music festival in Thailand and a storm caused people to flee as the stage collapsed. Spirit warned us of this accident prone energy in 2023 and told us about a month ago that it was going to accelerate in the month of April into May. So please, my friends, be very mindful when you're out and about this spring, summer, and even in the fall for the rest of the year, basically, especially if you're out at any of the summer festivals and amusement parks. Because one amusement park, according to Spirit, is going to be forced to close its doors and gates due to an investigation into several deaths after a ride plunges to the ground. A major roller coaster accident in China, and more reports of incidents occurring this year at Six Flags, Disney, and MGM. Like more reports of incidents than ever, like a record-breaking season for that. I see an electrocution taking place. It was very disturbing vision, actually. Everything was wet. It was after a rainfall, and it looked more like a carnival or a fair, but some type of park. That was one person. I believe one person, maybe multiple. I also saw, sadly, a shooting taking place at both a music celebration and outside of a sporting event. Of course, a sporting event, because a sore loser goes mad. New York comes to mind, as does an event taking place in Australia. But Australians may be hit differently, and that would be with severe storms during a large outside event, which would lead to injuries and even fatalities. Moving right on to precious metals, gold, silver, and Bitcoin for a moment. Short little thing about that, because Bitcoin took a plunge just as I predicted it would, and people told me I was crazy. No, it ain't going to go down. And then somebody in the comments blamed me that they lost money. My fault. I told you to get out of Bitcoin. It was going to plunge, and it did. It did exactly that last year. Exactly that. And it's slowly creeping back up. Slowly. Very slowly, rising. But Spirit shows me that some huge world event is going to cause another huge plunge into the toilet. And I think as all the markets go, all of it, everything's going to plunge. They're going to pull off some type of a world event purposely to make everything plunge so that they can hurry up and make trillions on top of the trillions they already have. That's what we have to keep an eye out for folks. So going back, so I do believe that Bitcoin itself will reach between 30 and 33,000, which it just was at 30 not that long ago. But 33 could actually be the magic number. Remember, 33 is the number connected to Jesus Christ. 11, 22, 33 are master numbers in numerology. And Christ was crucified at the age of 33, allegedly. We don't know that for fact, but allegedly, which is probably 100% true. But that's the magic number that I felt today, 33. And Spirit calls this the fall before the quick rise. The fall before a quick rise. The same goes in the realm of precious metals. Everything I just said. Speaking of precious metals, I told you silver was the one to buy, and I told you that 2 years ago. And silver, I remember I bought some silver coins, just a few silver bars, a few little 1 ounce bars, and they were $20 a piece. It's now $25 and some cents a piece. That's a big, nice little chunk of interest right there. Even though I only have a few silver coins and bars, but still. Those who would have taken that advice and invested in that silver should be sending me a tip through PayPal right now. Pay it forward, pay it forward. Speaking of gold and silver and all, the Royal Canadian Police have just confirmed that $100 million in gold was stolen from Canada's largest airport. That's right. $100 million in gold stolen. Just disappeared from the airport. That gold was stolen from the government, according to Spirit. They stole it because they know that there's a change in commodities and a change in our monetary system coming. And they hurried up and stole that gold. Just like they stole all the gold from the bottom of the Twin Towers before 9/11 happened. Just like they took all the gold out of Fort Knox. All the gold's gone, folks. The gold that they stole off of my grandparents and your great-grandparents, depending on how old you are, that gold's gone. They went and stole it all from all of Americans, and then they took it. I said it was going to save the economy. Then they went over to the petrol dollar and never got off the golden dollar and took all the gold. unbelievable with the crap that happens in this world. Unbelievable. So that's what happened in Canada. Speaking of gold, silver, and shortages and theft, let's talk about shortages and attacks on our food chain. Again, in the past video, I did the Great Famine. You should watch that video. It's extremely important. It talks about past famine events and how they relate to what's coming in the near future. The Great Famine is the name of that video. I also did one called The Game of Hunger. Two really important videos to watch. Another attack just happened on our cattle industry. And this one's kind of weird if you didn't see it or read about it, as cattle are found in Texas with their tongues cut out. So cattle mutilations. What's her name? I just drew a blank. I can't think of her name. Molten Hal. I know that's her last name, Molten Hal. Why can't I think of her first name? She's on Ancient Aliens show, actually. Why can't I think of her first name? I got her last name. That's so weird. I got her last name, but not her first name. But Molten Hal, she's on YouTube. Check her out because I haven't checked her out lately. But she's going there to do. That's what she does. She's the biggest expert on the planet when it comes to mutilations, and I want to hear what she's got to say. So check her out. Linda, popped them up right in. Linda Molten Hal, that's her name. Love her. I hope she watches so I can say love you. Anyway, keep in mind that several ruling elite families, including the Bush family, actually live in Texas. So perhaps maybe they're aliens or reptilians, as conspiracy theorists claim. I'm a realist, not a theorist. But one thing is for sure, my friends, they are definitely psychopathic devil lovers. They love the devil. And this cattle mutilation in Texas is very symbolic. Think about it. The tongue represents speaking. So they don't want somebody to speak, right? Cattle is also how we get our protein and our diet. I take this as a sign. I don't know who the sign is going towards. I don't know if it's going towards somebody like the farmer themselves, but I'm getting that somebody needs to keep their mouth shut or they're going to end up dead like the cattle. And this is really eerie, friends. Really eerie article here. Look, let's show you. Well, not show you, but tell you. Madison County, Texas, actually. According to the Madison County Sheriff's Office, ranchers said that a 6-year-old Longhorn Cross cow was found dead at their ranch along Texas Old San Antonio Road, mutilated and lying on its side. A straight, clean cut with apparent precision was made to remove the hide around the cow's mouth on one side. I've seen pictures of those before, and leaving meat under the removed untouched. The tongue was so completely removed from the body with absolutely no blood spill. The sheriff's office said that there were no signs of struggles, and the grass around the cow was undisturbed. No footprints, no tracks were noted in the area. Very interesting. I want to know what Linda Molten Hal says about this. But I think that it's just a warning sign of some sort. And I'll have to hopefully get more information on this by next week. But of course, Spirit has been forewarning us going back to shortages since the year 2020. If you recall, and you've been following me long enough, I've been urging you since before lockdown happened of future shortages, famines, and to stock up on supplies. And now we know why Spirit told us that 3 years ago, because look at the prices of stuff now. So those who took that advice saved a lot of money. And I've noticed many things are now missing from the grocery store shelves. Have you noticed that? Some items are missing, or they're becoming harder and harder to find. And of course, when you can find them, they're a ridiculous amount of money because of the amount of inflation that's making some foods literally unaffordable, like eggs, for example. $7.99 a dozen. That's just insane. And the rest, so, they're making everything unaffordable. And that's exactly what the WEF, Mr. G, Gates himself, Klaus Schwab and the rest of the psychopathic billionaires want for humanity. That's what they want, friends. That's what they've been planning for a long time. And Spirit says that these shortages are going to become more and more evident come late summer of this year, but especially when we enter into late 2023 and more so in the winter, early winter of 2024, so January and February. It's going to become very evident, especially in places like Africa and India. So we are now witnessing a gradual decline in our food supply. So people aren't noticing it because they're not taking notice to it at all. And it's a gradual decline of food supplies. And you're not seeing, in the grocery store, they push things up on the shelves and make the shelves look fuller. But when you're going and looking for something specific and you can't find it and there's not a spot on the shelf for it because, they put something else there to make their shelves full. They do whatever they can. They'll put things in a row and nothing behind them just to make sure the shelves are full to make you believe that they're stocked up when they're really not. So we're witnessing this decline in food supplies, but some folks again aren't noticing it. But soon it's going to hit hard, according to Spirit, in India and Africa. Again, where they are already struggling. Larger shortages of energy is going to occur in Europe and will cause government interventions like the Great Depression, limiting people. They're going to intervene over in Europe, especially in places like Germany. Come next winter, you're going to have a lot of blankets because they're going to limit your amount of ability to heat your home. They're going to limit everything. That's their purposely doing this, folks. Larger shortages of energy. Some items you should be considering yourselves and your family to stock up on. Because soon, again, we're going to see more price increases and less product on grocery store shelves. Really important. And one of them things that popped up is vinegar. Vinegar is really important. Vinegar, especially apple cider vinegar, it's good it does a lot, as you know. And vinegar is really important, especially if you are like myself and love pickles. Last year I made my own pickles, and this year I'm preparing and making triple the amount that I made last year because the pickles turned out really good. So I'm hoping that I get lots of pickles, cucumbers this year and make more pickles. But vinegar is used in so many products, and soon people are going to begin to notice, according to Spirit, the sun's coming out. People are going to notice all the things that use vinegar when they start seeing those prices increase or things like pickles not being on the shelves at all. Dairy products is another one that we're already, I go to the grocery store, they're always out of heavy cream or half and half, always. Now, I do live in a tourist area, but at the same time, let me know what it's like where you live. Do you notice that where you live in the comments? Do you notice that there's less dairy, lots of cheese, but not when it comes to like milk, half and half, and heavy cream? All those items I seem to find a hard problem. I see those cases empty very often in the grocery stores, both grocery stores that I go to. So that's a problem, friends. So dairy is going to become harder. And I notice that. Be sure to, big warning here, friends, that you need to be very, very sure and mindful that you wash and clean all your fruits and vegetables that you purchase from grocery stores. One of the plans, according to Spirit, of these elite psychopaths is to actually cause disease to several crops and vegetables and fruits. This takes me back to the Great Famine that happened in Ireland with the potatoes and the disease of the potatoes. That's in my video, The Great Famine. So again, check that out. But in turn, we're going to see, wash diseases that attack a specific vegetable or fruits. Not sure which one. But in turn, we're going to also see an uptick in vegetable and fruit recalls, including a large recall of frozen vegetables from a huge company like Bird's Eye, Green Giant, or both. So, what's the other one? Goya. Goya just popped in my mind. I don't know if Goya has frozen stuff, but Goya recall. I'm going to put that in here. So it's on my notes. Goya recall, because you can access my written predictions if you're a level 2 on my Subscribe Star platform or higher. I just started getting them up there. So if you want to read the written predictions, that's where you will find them. And it's what I write every week for the show and my monthly predictions and all. You'll find them posted on there. So going back, a Goya recall, but frozen vegetables from a huge company being recalled. And again, some type of new disease, kind of like a fungus, most likely a fungus of some sort, that's going to attack several farmers' crops, especially in one particular country, but I wasn't sure. Spirit did not give me clarity what country. I didn't feel like it was here in the United States. It was somewhere overseas, probably somewhere in Europe. I'm not clear. But I would say if I had to pick somewhere, I would say India. Maybe some type of fungus that attacks crops in India. But of course, as you know, an attack on our proteins, again, has been happening since 2020. Millions and millions and millions of chickens, turkeys, pigs, and cattle have been terminated with no good reason at all, friends. Look at last week, 18,000 plus cattle just blew up. Come on now. That just doesn't happen, friends. That does not happen unless you make it happen. Never such a thing. Not even an incident killing a dozen cows like that in an explosion, let alone 18,000 cattle. And all these animals were terminated, and they were terminated with no good reason other than their sinister intentions of starving us out and forcing us to eat their nasty bugs, which they're manufacturing. They're making that big, folks. Like people say, oh, that's conspiracy. No, do your research. They actually on the WEF website tell you straight up you're going to be eating bugs. That's what they tell you. So soon we're going to see an attack against hunters. This one was disturbing. Hunters and fishermen. Beware hunters and fishermen. I love fishing. I haven't done it in forever, but I love fishing. Hunters and fishermen, both in the United Nations, because the United Nations is going to gather with other countries to place specific bans and restrictions on fishing, while companies like McDonald's get to go out into Alaska and fish out all the fish. Local fishermen can't fish, but McDonald's can go in and take it all. Yeah, and look into the laws in Alaska and what they do and get away with, and how they, the big barges that come in and scoop up all the fish for McDonald's, they take all the fish that they scoop up that aren't the one that go in your fish sandwiches, go into the garbage. So they're just murdering all these other innocent creatures of the sea just to get you your damn fish sandwich through the drive-through. I'm just saying, it's disturbing. So they're going to put bans on fishing and restrictions on fishing globally. And they're going to stop, again, local fishermen in Alaska. And bans on hunting are coming as well, in areas that they're going to claim that you can't hunt because it's bad for the environment. When it's really all about total enslavement, as we all know. So in past visions, I saw large lines, if you remember, at gas stations, like back in the 1970s. And this actually just started happening. I don't know if I brought this up last week or not, so I brought it up today. In South Florida. In South Florida, people were waiting in line for hours to get gasoline. Who's going to suffer in the lines next? Yeah, it's coming, folks. I told you that over 2 years ago. And again, as you know, 2 to 3 years predictions come true, so we're going to start to see all this stuff coming into fruition soon. Speaking of fruition, weather. By now, if you followed my work long enough, again, you would know that the activity of the Earth always picks up greatly around the new moon, the full moon, and during Mercury retrogrades and energy shifts. Remember, the energy shift starts on May 5th, so that'll be interesting. And I will be doing May predictions. That'll either premiere Sunday, preferably, hopefully Sunday, my May predictions. If not, definitely Monday. 100%. Always get my predictions for the month by the first day of the month. So going back, the energy shift begins on the full moon, which is also a lunar eclipse on May 5th. And I would expect during that time period to see a massive earthquake between 7.5 and 8.1. I warn our friends in Taiwan, not of war with China, but war with weather modification. You heard me right, weather modification. They have systems, let's just put it that way. So both the United States and China really badly, desperately want their hands on that chip manufacturing company in Taiwan, which is the largest and the best chip manufacturer in the world. And they both want their hands on that, and they're going to do whatever that it takes to get that control over that company. So China is more likely to win that war for gaining that manufacturer, But at the same time, I believe Taiwan will end up in the same boat as Turkey. I believe that there's actually a plan in store, like there was for Turkey, through these sickos that want things to go their way. And I believe that they're going to launch some type of a massive attack on the Earth's plates beneath Taiwan. I also feel that there is a plan that the evildoer elite in the darkness within the United States, again, remember, they took out that Nordic pipeline, right? Same people I'm talking about here. Same people I'm talking about. And they got away with it for now. According to Spirit, not for long. They got away with it for now. But I do feel that there is a potential for a massive earthquake to hit Taiwan. So our friends in Taiwan, be mindful, be safe, be careful. I would also not be surprised at all to see an earthquake off the coast. I'm not sure where this manufacturer is, but I would not be, if they're anywhere near a coast, then I wouldn't doubt to see an earthquake out there in the Pacific or wherever they are up there, Pacific, that would bring a tsunami wave to Taiwan. So again, a warning to Taiwan, not of an attack from China or United States, but an attack from Mother Nature set off by humans. A massive quake for Taiwan and a potential for a massive tsunami. You heard it here first. Moving right along. AI technology is what we're finishing up with today. A couple predictions revolved around that. New technology. I try, as we get close to the beginning of a new month, I don't want to put out too many predictions because, we got May predictions coming up in less than a week. But I did put out a lot today, more than I normally would. But new technology will connect all our content online and even websites. So let me explain this. So Spirit shows me a new technology that's going to connect all your content. If you're a content provider like myself, or even not even just your content, all your social media pages, everything that you do online is going to be weaved into this web. And even websites. This includes websites that they're going to deem in their minds unsafe, like Odyssey, for example, and Rumble, another example. And they will no longer. So right now, people think that Rumble and Odyssey are safe platforms, and they are right now to post things. Even though Rumble don't pay anybody anything, but they're not going to be safe for long, is what Spirit told me, because this new technology is going to interweave everything you do. This has to do with your social credit score thing, and taking your face recognition and putting you behind all the content that you put out online. So therefore, technology is going to watch for banned content. And even if you did not say it, or even if you did not post it on, say, Google or YouTube or Facebook, you're still going to be blocked. Social media will eventually ban and be able to ban IP addresses, even if you have a VPN. So beware. That's what Spirit showed me today. They are in the works of doing this now. AI is creating a highly dangerous super brain. The AI system itself is creating a dangerous super brain. ChatGPT is nothing compared to what they have, according to Spirit, mainly at Google, but also Facebook as well. Spirit shows me Facebook and Google interweaved into that web of darkness. Of course they are. But again, Spirit shows me, so I share it with you. And I see this also for Starlink, which I'm coming to you from Starlink right here. And Planet Sedona. I'm on Planet Sedona. So I see this for Starlink. As much as folks like to believe that Elon Musk is a savior, like they believe DT was, or some type of white hat, as they call him, and that term just drives me crazy because that's just a fantasy as far as I'm concerned. Yes, there's good people and bad people fighting, good people fighting for the good of all, but that whole thing is a fantasy. Just like the whole Q thing was a fantasy. Just saying. But Spirit says that there is already plans in store to interweave AI technology into the Starlink satellites as a part of future tracking of everyone on the planet. So I've been telling you a long time. So I asked AI technology. I went on ChatGPT and I asked ChatGPT, do you pose a threat to humanity? Wait until you hear what I say. Let me drink some tea for this one. This is the response I got from AI. Again, I asked AI technology, do you pose a threat to humanity? As an AI language model, I am programmed to operate under ethical principles and respect the safety and privacy of individuals. Yeah, okay, for now, for today, maybe. However, the rise of advanced AI technology also raises some concerns about the future. Here are a few warnings about AI in the future in the future to consider, direct from AI themselves. AI could displace human jobs. With advancements in AI, machines and software could potentially perform tasks that were previously done by humans, leading to job displacement and economic disruption. We already see that. This could have a significant impact on employment rates and on the job market. Number two, AI could accelerate inequality. Total brain freeze. The benefits of AI may be disrupted equally across society, with those who have access to the technology and to the resources to develop and use it benefiting the most. This could accelerate existing social and economic inequalities. Number three, AI could pose security risks. AI can be programmed to learn and adapt to new situations, making it vulnerable to being manipulated by malicious actors. There is a risk that AI could be used to launch cyber attacks or create fake videos or images that could be used to spread false information and undermine democracy. Like propaganda, friends. That's exactly what they're talking about right there. Propaganda. Which is already probably happening. I got news for you. Remember, Spirit told me a long time ago that our government, for every year that we advance technologically here in the United States and other governments too, China and Russia both, every year we advance technologically, they advance 50 years. So imagine what they have. They already have all this stuff, folks. They're just not letting you know about it. So security risks. Next one is AI could raise ethical concerns. As AI becomes more advanced, it will raise important ethical questions about its use. For example, should we allow AI to make life and death decisions? This is disturbing. In healthcare or military contexts. How can we ensure that AI operates with ethical boundaries? AI could have unintended consequences. As with any new technology, the full impact of AI is difficult to predict. It's not difficult to predict at all, folks. They've been predicting it in movies forever. RoboCop is right around the corner. They already probably have them already made. There may be an unintended consequences that we cannot anticipate, leading to unexpected outcomes and potential negative consequences. But overall, while AI has the potential to revolutionize many areas of our lives, we must be mindful of the potential risks and work to mitigate them. It is important to approach AI development with caution and consider the ethical implications of its use. That's directly from AI itself, my friends. AI just told us that AI is dangerous. It just told on itself completely. I thought that was really, really interesting. So, two pieces that I'm working on. First, I'm doing a very important piece that I'm going to be working on. I haven't started yet, but I will over the next 2 days on cannabis and the cannabis control takeover that people don't know is happening. This isn't good for the health, and for the medical world at all. Secondly, the one that I have been working on, but I've been really busy with garden and clients and classes that I haven't finished, and that's the first one I'm going to finish, is the truth about train derailments and where it's all linked to. Two important videos you're not going to want to miss, along with my May predictions. That'll be Sunday evening or Monday, one or the other. Hopefully I'll have them ready to go by Sunday. That is the goal. I really love hanging out with you. Got to go upload this. This was a long one. It's going to take forever to upload. I will be chatting with you in the chat room. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for the chat caches that came through, the PayPal, and for joining the community down below. I love you all so much. Remember to be kind to others as you wish others be kind to you. We all know mean people suck, right? We do. They're not fun, not at all. Spearman JT, thank you for the like as well. Be bold, be true, be kind, be you. Signing off. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Much love and a namaste to you.